So Squanch is.
Dude, are we done with that?
Okay, we're done with Squanch. Okay, we're done with Mark Sanchez.
It's not even how you say it. Squanched. Squanched.
We know, dude. Hey, he's in booth mode. Ever since we got on the Zoom with him, he's like very dignified. He's different since he's booth man. He's changed. What up, big boy? We missed you.
What's up? I miss you guys.
Yeah,
I'm still invited.
Oh, you're always invited. And now you're an NFL on Fox booth guy, and I'm wondering how this came about because you didn't say anything to us about it. Just I read about you on Google, and now you're my dad's coworker.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Long family, and any chance I can work with them, like your show, like Kyle on the Bears, like now Fox. I just follow you guys. You know, that's pretty much what I do.
That's a great point.
Just a little hanger on, just always there.
Please,
yeah.
Please.
You're gonna be walking out, throwing out your trash one day, and I'm just gonna be there.
I would love it if you would come visit us.
I will. Okay. I will at some point.
Okay. Between all the games. So how did this thing come about? Like, did you just get a wild hair? Or have you been thinking about this a while?
No, I've wanted to call games for a little bit. I was a little nervous, to be completely candid. And I think I've done well with the highlight stuff. I think Studio and ESPN has prepared me for this. But I did want to get back to like live game action. And I was under contract for 2 years with ESPN, and then this was my opportunity to either make a move, go back, or do something different. And I thought, listen, I can go I auditioned for CBS, I auditioned for Fox. Boom, negotiations started with Fox. I called everybody at ESPN and said, hey, this is kind of the direction I'm going. And they were great. They wished me the best. And I was very appreciative to them because I knew they had prepared me for this moment. And I just think that when you see the game through the lens of a quarterback who's played for 10 years or been around it for 10 years, there's just so much there that you can either educate the fan on or commentate on and give an opinion on that makes sense, and if I don't do that, I feel like I'm wasting an opportunity to do that. And so this was the right move for me, and pretty similar schedule during the season. Weekends will be busy. During the week, it'll be pretty light. But I got a couple studio days in there too, and I think I just think it's a great opportunity. I'm excited to work with Scope, Titleman, Kevin Kugler, Laura Oakman. I think we got a great team. We just had our Fox seminar out at the Biltmore in Phoenix, and it was great. It was great. I just love the atmosphere. I think it's a family atmosphere, so I'm grateful for all the people at Fox for giving me a shot. And our first game is San Fran at Detroit, week 1. So I'll see Mark Brunell. I'll see Jimmy G. We'll see all the guys we know and love in the NFL. I'm just excited that the fans are going to be back, and it's going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah, dude, you're going to be right there in production meetings with Dan Campbell the first week. I mean, this is awesome. This is awesome.
I got to wear some knee pads, dude.
You do have to wear some knee pads. You got to name drop Greenlight Pod. One day we got to get Dan Campbell on here. But so like, do you know your first week? Do you know like the rest of the slate, or how far into the season do you have any predictability of which games you're doing?
I got the first 4. Second one, Cincy at Chicago, which would be great. Third one's Seattle at Minnesota, and then fourth one's Washington at Atlanta. So
wow, okay.
For my first gig, I'm stoked. There's people that I know on all those teams, especially all the home teams, and those are the ones you get to go see practice. Those are the ones you get to interact with, on a Friday practice. So that's huge because you get a good feel for a team is kind of what I'm hearing on Friday.
Yeah.
And then the relationships you have with whether it's a Mark Brunell or, Dave Ragone, who's in Atlanta, as the OC quarterback coach, that kind of stuff. I mean, I was in a room with the guy, for 9 months every day.
Right.
And, you rely on those kind of relationships to get the kind of content that viewers want. And so hopefully I can be a conduit to give that content. And I think I will.
What's the best piece of advice you've gotten from somebody that's doing what you're about to do?
Oof. I got to talk to Troy out at the Troy Aikman out at the like I'm boys with him now. I just call him Troy.
You guys are tight, yeah, Troy.
I had to catch myself right there. I'm like, we're fellow booth guys. Like I haven't even done a damn game yet.
QB booth guys, man.
Who knows? But you do get little things from everybody, and a lot of them are similar across the board. Like one, go have fun. People are going to ask you, you're watching a football game. How hard can it be? Right? You've done this your whole life. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Little things like that along the way have really helped. Watching old Madden clips, watching old Gruden clips, watching Phil Simms, watching Romo, watching, a bunch of guys. You pick little things that you love about each of them. And at the end of the day, I got to be Mark. I got to be me. I gotta have fun doing it. And I mean, I've been on this show a bunch. You know me. I'm a little self-deprecating. Hopefully I have some good insight on something, but I want the game to be fun. And so, the other thing too that everybody's told me is if you get a great game that's, high scoring, back and forth kind of affair, that's easy. That's great. That's what everybody hopes for. When you get a blowout, then, you're working. Now the storylines matter. Now you really got to think about what you're going to say and how you're going to incorporate things and hope the score picks up, so.
Well, it becomes like a podcast late in a game.
Exactly.
That's three scores. So, I mean, you're welcome. This is the roots of Mark Sanchez's greatness. Is it really hard not to read the mail before it gets there? Like a Tony Romo thing, how he's really good at, I imagine former quarterbacks in general, no matter who you are, you're going to have insights that we don't. I mean, even players that played closer to in different areas of the field. Is it hard for you not to the urge to be like, oh, I can call that out?
I think doing the auditions have helped, but I still got to be me. If that's who I want to be, okay, then that's what I got to do. I got to study to be that. Now, here and there, sprinkle it in, or you've seen the exact formation in motion because offenses aren't scared to do that again later in the game. If you know it, you know it. And if you don't, you don't. And it's not the end of the world either way. It's really cool when you get it right, I'm sure, just like Tony's experienced. But it's not the end of the world, is kind of what people have said. Like, hey, if you miss one, so what? It's not the end of the broadcast.
Yeah.
The game goes on, life goes on. Just move on and call it as you see it. But, making sure you understand from the quarterback's perspective, that's a unique perspective. And that's the way I see the game, where some guys see it from a defensive spot. Some guys see it from a receiver perspective. I think that quarterback view is you're an extension of the coaching staff on the field. So you kind of see a lot. And so I think one of the most important things is just filtering all that information, everything I'm taking in, getting it out in a quick, concise, relatable manner without trying too hard to coach somebody on a cover two and a cover two man. Like, it's not, you don't have to tell them, hey, this is, weak side counter with two lead blockers and he's got the first one around the edge. He's got the kick. It's like, it's too far. You've just gone down this rabbit hole and it's like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if there's something simple that you can relay, then absolutely do it.
During your auditions, did you practice using a telestrator, and are you aware that it's pretty easy to draw genitalia
a dick.
accidentally?
That is so funny because we got to practice in Phoenix and they brought it out there. I think I was one of the only people who needed it because either me or Greg Olson, but it's so true. And they tell you that right away, that it's pretty easy to draw something that you'd rather erase and look like a moron.
It's a balloon.
So,
it's a balloon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you end up circling two people and then there's inevitably like, oh, this alley. And then he's got to stop right here. And then you're just like, oh, dear. So
we were going to ask if you could draw at some point in the season a G, like inadvertently, to shout us out. Not many people listen, so nobody's going to know you were fucking around doing it. So will you do that for us? Just draw a G.
GLP, green light.
No, just a G.
GLP.
We'll know exactly what you're doing. We'll be glued to the TV during all your games. A G.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, see, there we go. That's a soft verbal commitment.
No, I said, yeah, okay, like you're going to be watching every single game that I do.
I'll take it as a yeah, okay. Spotters, the whole thing, like what was the most surprising thing about when you got in I don't know if they're like flight simulators when you become a pilot, you probably feel like you're really practicing leading up to it. Have you done any like real mock game type things before you get into it? And what's the most surprising mechanic that you didn't, envision being really tough or overwhelming?
So I've only gone off of recorded games on a monitor.
Right.
But I will be in Dallas versus Houston for that preseason game, not on air, but just with a headset to listen to Kevin Kugler in the box because he's we're partners on this. And I just want to hear his cadence, his timing. He actually came out here for a couple of days and stayed at my house, and we were going back and forth on what we wanted, what we expected of each other. And I'm so excited. I think he's going to be a great teammate. But we went back and watched one of his games with Mark Brunell, a Jaguars-Jets preseason game, and he forgot that I was in that game. So we were watching him and Mark call our first drive for the Jets against the Jags in preseason, back when it was Gabbert and Henney, and I was playing for the Jets. So it was funny to hear his cadence and then go back and look at that game.
Was he killing you at any point? Did he kill you at any point?
No, he wasn't, but Brunell did. Damn it. And I was like, yo, I just looked at Kevin. I was like, yeah, what was that?
All right, fine. That's fair coming from Mark Brunell, but fuck. I mean, geez.
I mean, he was my former teammate for 2 years. We were like super tight. So I'm like, dude.
I remember Leroy Glover went on TV like a year and a half in and said something that was a little critical of me, and I just had to take it in stride. It's just the way it is. And that's probably the hardest part about doing what we do now. You are going to be in a lot of situations where you're not going to have to take shots at people, but you're going to have to, like, if I was calling games, inevitably I'm going to criticize a defensive end who was better than me. There's plenty of them. Like, you're going to call a game with Tom Brady or something, one
exactly
day, and you're going to have to say he fucked up. Like, how do you do that respectfully, and how do you not bury guys?
Yeah, I think there's a fine art to it. Some guys are better at it than others, but at the end of the day, you really got to criticize the performance and not the person, right? Like, once you start getting into the person, then it's like, whoa, that's, a little out of bounds. And then the other thing too is, I try not to take anything personally as a player. So hopefully these guys will do the same thing, but throw an interception. It's either a really good play by the defensive back, a bad deal by the receiver, or just a bad decision, right? Like, it's either a bad throw, bad decision, screw up by the receiver, or great play by the defensive back. And they're rarely on the receiver and defense back. It's usually either a bad throw or a bad decision. So
can you do me a favor when you're doing this? Because I feel like skill guys and quarterbacks just totally ignore like line play as far as the terminology is concerned. And with it, a couple of my pet peeves here. Like, if somebody gets a sack 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you've been sacked that deep. That was not the tackle's fault. So don't put it on the tackle, and don't whack the D end off over a rush like that. Please don't do that. If a D end is unblocked, don't clamor over what a great rush it was. Can we not do that? Those two things with pass rush?
All right, I will do my best.
And can we not blame the defensive end every time there's a reverse that goes out the gate?
Contain.
It's not.
Who's got contain on this?
Who's
got the
God.
D-gap?
You should know well enough. We don't use the word contain in the run game. We use edge or force. You already know this. And can you please do us a service and not throw us into the bus like every other good-looking skill guy that ever walked into a booth? Please, Mark.
Hey, listen, deep is the deepest, wide is the widest. You got contained, son.
Contain, though. You just stop saying contain.
No, I know. You're outside force. You're the outside force player.
I love this.
Here's the crazy thing, though. Yeah. We went through some of the rule changes. You know what's going to be nuts, dude? The corner can't go low out on the edge. So outside the tight end box, nobody can go low.
Yeah.
Okay, so on screens go up the alley.
Yeah.
Up the alley is right up the numbers, right? Outside edge or on the numbers is the sidewalk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they tell the backs, that's your landmark. Once you hit it and turn second base and go, that's where you're going. Well, these linemen, boom, it's a 3 count. So they're 1, 2, boom, they're out of there. And their job is to go block this little guy on the edge. Well, you can't get foot to foot, face to face and block this guy like a blocking clinic. So what do they tell him? They tell him to throw, just dive at his legs and make him make a decision, right? Go this way or that way. Then the running back goes the other way.
Yeah, dictates things for the back. Yeah.
And they're not really trying to hit him. Just like the corner out there when he just falls down and kind of
tries to make a pile because it's better that he's there than 5 yards behind himself.
All he's got to do is force the thing back inside. Well, all of those are penalties now.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's going to be crazy.
So it's that screen game, the outside bubbles, and like quick little minus throws and now throws. I mean, that's all it is. The tunnel screens, all that. It's get out there and kind of take up space. As
a defensive player, I kind of love it because the one thing I hated about the end of my career was like the game got so sideline to sideline, and the run game became this finesse thing, and you were taken out of plays if you weren't fast as fuck. So I love the fact that now offenses are going to be dissuaded from like hitting the edge and just chopping guys down. You probably run less screens.
It's just weird.
You probably run less screens.
But I mean, so it was funny because I was like, I wonder what the defense thinks. And Charles Woodson's in there because now he's on the show with your pops. And he looked at Walt Anderson from the NFL deal and was just like, so what do I do when that big guy comes after me? He goes, I'm like barely 200 pounds. Like,
it's unbelievable.
He's like, now what?
But on the other side of things, like the offensive linemen are going to have a hard time breaking down and making those blocks in space. So I don't know who that favors, but yeah,
they can't, shuffle their feet and try and settle and block a DB. That's impossible.
Here's what's going to happen. A lot of defenses are going to change the way they force screens. There's going to be ways that you could spill, like a lot of times, like a defensive end will spill a puller, get skinny, kind of go right at him and dart underneath him. You're going to get more leeway to do that, and you're going to need like second and third level players to replace each other. The defensive and defensive backs have a ton of mechanisms for this. And I think this will favor defenses, not offenses, actually.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I do. Are there any other rule changes that we have? Because we've turned our brains off with football all summer.
I'm trying to remember. That was the big one.
That's the big one.
People had a lot of questions about.
Yeah.
Something was unreviewable. Oh, pass interference, but they changed that last year.
What about name searching? Will you name search yourself? Be honest after games.
Like Twitter mentions and stuff?
Yeah.
So I've heard that like during the game, probably don't want to do it.
Do dudes name search themselves during the game?
No, well, like people will have their phone and during a break or during halftime, if you're getting alerts on your phone, if you have the alerts turned on, then it'll show, right? So like for any social media stuff, I don't have that turned on. It won't come on the front of my, like the lock screen,
Yeah.
But people are like, yeah, like
it happens.
You say something about whatever. I mean, one of the examples Kevin Kugler gave me, and I forget the name that he used, but it was like when they give the weather report and it's like snowy rain and people call it sleet.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually some other technical name for it. And Kevin had checked his mentions and someone said, hey, I'm a meteorologist in, Idaho. And this is what it's called, by the way. And so he looked it up real fast, confirmed it, said it on air. And he had 50 mentions from just about every meteorologist ever. And they're like, that's so cool. Our lingo. So it can be a good thing.
That can be a tool.
But if he would have said something, if he said something bad, then people would just roast you. You know how the internet is, dude. It's Twitter is the bathroom wall of the internet, dog.
It sure is. It sure is.
You write anything.
It's just a little bit dirtier than the bathroom wall, I feel like. You talked about Charles Woodson, Hall of Famer now. So Alan Faneca is another guy that's going in this weekend. You played with Alan. He, kind of was the driving force behind a lot of the prolific run offenses of the last 20 years. And he just seems like a great guy, too. I mean, what can you tell me about playing with Faneca?
One, he's the best. Two, I didn't know he was such a great guy because I don't think he said a word to me until we were in the playoffs my rookie year. He was just like a prove it kind of guy.
Yeah.
And this guy was in the building, before everybody, working on. He had hand surgery either the year before with the Steelers or 2 years before, and when he came to us, he was always working on that. That disc with all the like web things in it, always doing hand.
Yeah.
I mean, constantly working on his body, constantly getting massages, stretching, extra lifting. I mean, he just set a template for like, if you want to take care of yourself, this is what you do. Yeah. And he never explained it to me because we didn't talk that much until later. And after we lose in the championship game, like this dude coming over and giving me a big hug, like, man, I'm proud of you. I thought you worked your ass off. And it was just like such a gratifying sensation because one, he didn't say anything early and I asked Nick Mangold a million times. I'm like, dude, you didn't like me? Like, you didn't like USC? What did I do? What did I do? And he goes, dude, he's a different cat. You got to earn his respect. Yeah. And as soon as Nick said that, it was like, all right, it's on. Like, this is one of my goals because if I can live up to that kind of expectation, I'm sure I'm going to be playing okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I can do all those little things that he respects, then maybe we have a conversation one day because I know he's working his ass off. And so it was a long journey to get to those conversations.
Yeah.
And he was one of the best, man. Just worked his tail off, and it paid off. You know, it doesn't always pay off, but it puts you in the right situation, and he attacked it and maximized his potential for sure.
Have you seen him all skinny running like Ironman?
Yeah, he's doing like triathlons and all that. That's incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
No, it's very cool. He seems like, again, a good dude, and it took you a year to figure that out, I guess. But again, like we talk about that in the old NFL, when we came in the league, vets were different. We talked about Faneca and you, that relationship. That's actually a great segue into what we were going to talk about next, which is like young quarterbacks. Like there are a bunch of them right now that, you know, there's always a guy or two that are going to be handed the keys right away in the NFL. You know, Trevor Lawrence or somebody like that. What's the key to being a young guy in a locker room that, albeit it's much different now, there's less vets. You walked into a really vetty locker room. So Faneca was one example. In general, what's it like trying to walk that line between being a leader and like staying out of the way?
It's a very fine line, razor thin at times, because you got to assert yourself as the leader, but that doesn't mean you have to be like the vocal rah-rah guy. That doesn't mean you have to, you know, belittle anybody else or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like that over time can happen. But at the beginning, I mean, there's not a ton to say,
right,
other than, you know, the little, hey, reminders, tips, like the tips and reminders that you get on your quarterback sheet or anything like that. Reminding guys, like I used to do even at a young age, even my rookie year, hey, we're on the goal line now. Be ready for bullets. Be ready for outlaw.
Right.
Boom. Let's go. I right tight wing, 20 blast. And you give the play, but you give a little more than the play. Or, hey, we're going to run stick. Hey, Dustin Keller, DK, it's 3rd and 6 now. I need you to get all of 6. Okay. Don't give me a 5-yard stick route. All right, let's go trips right, blah, blah, blah. And you give the play explaining a quick little thing, whatever it is. Hey, hold your water on this. I'm going long cadence or double count, whatever. We're on 2. Little things like that would help because it reminds yourself. 2, you're tuned in. You know what the hell you're talking about. And 3, the guy's kind of like, okay, he's got a little more than just I write 13 Bob, right? Because I write 13 Bob is a shitty call because it's a boring ass play. But 13 Bob's got to work. So you got to tell them in a way like, hey, knock their ass off left side. We're coming after you guys. Let's go. I write 13 Bob. Boom. And you just give them a little extra juice, a little extra something. And whether it's in the cafeteria, if it's, you know, going like I try to do, go to a Broadway show with some of the guys, bring their wives, get to know them. So when you get in those tough situations, a tough 3rd down, a tough 4th quarter, you get your ass kicked by a team. It's never personal. Like we got a relationship that's strong. We're friends. We're all trying to do something together. We got this shared struggle. It's never personal. If it gets hot, if it gets heated, if we get, you know, annoyed or frustrated with each other, who cares? We're just trying to win.
Yeah, we were at Fiddler.
I don't like you.
We were at Fiddler on the fucking roof together, guys.
Start singing the soundtrack to Cats.
Get over it.
Yeah.
You were going to the same place. I was like, so you're taking these big, burly vets and you're saying, like, let's hit the Broadway shows.
That was a tough sell, I got to say. They, the wives loved it. The players were like, what?
All right, Rook. Was there ever
But they eventually loved it because their wife was in a great place and you know, gave them potentially a free pass, a free night out with the boys.
Happy wife.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Happy life. Was there ever a time somebody put you in your place and was like, Rook, like a little bit less, or like, hey, Rook, like you haven't been here that long? Because it's happened to me before and I wasn't a quarterback.
So, God, what did I said something, and Mangold just kind of like gave me a look like, and Brandon Moore gave me like a cool it, and he was great at the eye roll, just like, you know, almost like Stanley from The Office, just you know, just cut through to your soul with just a look, you know,
circle change up all the way.
So, you know, like the dog days of training camp when everybody's tired and sweaty and there's fights breaking out and you're like, come on, guys, we got to focus. And, you know, those guys are like.
You didn't fight like Danny Dimes, did you? Danny Dimes was in there. Did you ever get in a fight in Priest? Did you ever drop the people's elbow? I said that. Look at that right cross.
Come on, dude.
Did you ever have to get in the middle of a scrum? That was a chippy group you had.
I threw on the Rey Mysterio RIP mask and just off the top rope. No, it was funny. Rex always had a couple rules for fighting, and it was well documented on Hardknocks, but he just said, number one, if a fight breaks out, if you take off your helmet, you're out.
Yeah.
Right? If you're swinging it or you take it off to be a tough guy and get in somebody's face, you're gone. I'm kicking you out of practice. Two, you strap up your helmet and body blows only. If I see you punching in the face, you're going to break your hand. And so if you didn't already break your hand, I'm kicking you out of practice. And he said, he goes, where's Sanchez? He goes, yeah, get this, you know what, out of here.
Yeah.
Make sure the red jerseys aren't even close.
Yeah.
And if he's even close and you don't get him out, you're out. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the rules. He's like, I'm not condoning fighting, but if you do any of those, you know, if you play within the rules, we can tolerate a couple belly blows. It's not that big of a deal. We'll all get over it.
It's going to happen.
But if I see any of this other shit, you're gone.
It's going to happen in camp. The Hard Knocks thing you just mentioned, how hard was that? Like, what's that really like when they're just hovering over you?
At first, it was a little weird, but they do such a good job of putting it like these tiny little cameras with audio pickup and everything.
Yeah,
it's like in the vent or you know, in the smoke detector or something. Like you don't even see it. I swear, their cameras like as small as this mic.
I think that's how they caught Carl Nassib doing the accountant thing. Remember, he was explaining shit, and it looked like he was on like a real world camera. It's the same camera
dude,
as the real
like Big
world.
Brother. You don't even think about
Big Brother, the
it's
show.
Just
Yeah,
in there.
Yeah.
So that was, you know,
and you signed a release.
This big deal. I mean, I'm sure there's no way you're getting out of it.
So what if you're in the locker room or you're in the fucking?
Well, they listen. They try and protect you. If you're going over some legal issue and you're talking to your attorney and it's like attorney-client privilege. I doubt they're going to air that. Yeah. I mean, it's on film somewhere and it's recorded somewhere, but I doubt they would air it. I'm saying, like, okay, I'm ordering pizza from wherever. And the guy's like, I said, hey, can we get some extra ranch? And I'm in the quarterback room by myself. Everybody had already left. I was going to get the pizza and go to the locker room or go to the team room area and have pizza. And we were just going to hang out and watch a movie or watch whatever. And I don't think we had practice the next day or something like that. Well, I'm on the phone with the pizza delivery guy. And he goes, yeah, I said, can we get some extra ranch, please? And he said, each thing of ranch is like 50 cents. I was like, 50 cents? I was like, for what? It's like ketchup. You just get it.
Yeah.
Like, what is that all about?
No, bottles
of ranch. I don't know, man.
Money.
Like, whatever. Well, they aired that part, and I just got blasted because people are like, dude, you just signed a $50 million deal and you're haggling with this guy over ranch. I was like, I mean,
you know the value. You know the value of money, and it doesn't make sense that ranch costs money. Now, if the Papa John's garlic sauce, that you could probably charge me for that. You really could. You
could charge me for anything at Little Caesars, though.
Ooh, Little Caesars is pretty good. They don't have it out here. Oh, it's gross.
I mean, it's awesome, but it's so like
filling.
I mean, it's rough, dude. It's rough
filling.
on you. You pay for it. That's all.
10 things learned from this week's Hard Knocks episode, August 19, 2010. Mark Brunell will never allow 23-year-old Mark Sanchez to meet his college-age daughter. His daughter thinks he's cute. Have you ever met Mark Brunell's daughter?
Yes, he had us over for pizza night all the time, but that was the thing. They're like, you're closer in age to his daughter than him. Like, he could be your dad. That's kind of weird. And Brew was just like, it was just like a non-starter. Like, don't even think about it.
Were there 9 others about Mark?
It's all things from that particular episode, including the ranch bit.
Yeah, well, that's Mark Sanchez is a frugal asshole who treats the American workers terribly.
Sanchez loves all things flavored orange, including Tic Tacs and Ices.
Yeah.
Is that true?
It's true. I'm a big orange flavor guy.
That's interesting.
Orange Gatorade, orange anything.
How about let's talk a little quarterbacks before we get you out of here. We've got the Wentz Foles drama is back. That's good for business. I hate that Carson got hurt. I hate it because I was like so excited about this year for him. And it still could be because, you're going to get Quentin Nelson back. You've got a really nice team built around him. It's him and Frank Reich. But in the meantime, you look at that 5 to 12 week range. And I said this, and I don't know what you think about this, but I feel like that's a big range. And I feel like they do that intentionally as a team. And I'm wondering why, or if you're a player or a quarterback, what do you think about when they put out a range that big? And when do you think Carson Wentz really comes back?
If it's me personally, you look at whatever it is, 4 to 6, 6 to 12, 5 to 12. And I look at the first number and I'm like, okay, I got to beat that. That's just me in my screwed up brain, right? Competitive, just like I got to get back. Now he's got to weigh his own personal circumstances and think big picture, which is really hard. And the Colts medical staff, their most difficult job is potentially protecting him from him to make sure that any outside influence and stuff that he, over owns and personalizes, that doesn't fuel any, I got to be back out there before I'm ready to be back out there. And so, they'll do their best, just like Carson will in his rehab, but it's, they give you a range, obviously, to protect themselves and incentivize, right? I think the first number is kind of an incentive, and then the second number is kind of like, well, a contingency plan, rather,
My only issue is when they give that first number, because of what you said, they know we're going to try to beat that number. And a lot of times,
it's a little carrot.
Yeah, especially like post-surgery and that type of thing. The surgeon is setting that number. Trainers, then kind of follow that. But I feel like a lot of times they're making that timetable decision based on when you're structurally safe to play. That doesn't mean that you're going to be functionally like the guy you were. I think at like a quarterback position like that, it's a curiously big range. And maybe it's legit, but I also wonder if that's like the 5 weeks is a way for them to leverage like, hey, he's going to be back soon. We don't need Gardner Minshew that bad. We don't need Nick Foles that bad, because they're going to have to go trade for somebody. Yeah, I mean, like,
you would think to roll in with Jacob Eason is a heck of a gamble.
Right.
It's not the end of the world based on the team structure, right? Based on the personnel, because, it could be a handcuffed offense and letting this guy learn a little bit and heavy run, which they have. They got 3 backs that can do it. They got a great O-line. They got the defensive firepower, like solid on special teams. I think their defensive coordinator, Eberflus, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And so he's going to put these guys in a good position. Now it's, okay, what kind of quarterback play are we willing to live with, right? And we dealt with this when I was a rookie with the Jets. We won some games in spite of me. And that's just the way it goes as a rookie, if your team's good enough.
Right.
Now, if the team ain't good enough, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose bad. Look at, Peyton. Look at a lot of these guys as rookies. They didn't come into a situation that I had.
Right.
Because it's tough, man. I threw 5 picks, and we were in an overtime thriller against the Bills. 5 picks? You shouldn't even be in that game. You shouldn't even be in the stadium.
In a game, Mark?
There's no way. Yeah, one. It was rough.
One of them.
It was rough.
I've had some bad ones. That
was tough.
Dude, but it goes to show you the show goes on. I don't remember that game. It's just you got to just put your hat back on and go to work, especially as a rookie. And like you said, there's something to be said for, hey, this team's really good. We can hide a rookie quarterback who's going through growing pains. But I could look at it from the other side and say, this team is built to win now. We need to go get somebody that's going to help us win now. So is there anybody out there that you like if they're making a trade?
I mean, Philip said he was still thinking about it. He put the high school thing on a shelf for a minute and come back for 8 weeks.
You're right, because it's different. Like the difference between, hey, weighing Philip as an option to take you through the Super Bowl is one thing. I don't think Philip at this age is going to win them a Super Bowl. But if Philip wants to come back and get them to 6-4 or 7-3, when maybe Carson comes back, I'm overshooting the landing strip here. Maybe it's less games than that. But because for a team like this, they're thinking Super Bowl. They gave up the farm to go with a at worst unproven commodity, a guy who people have been down on. They think they can win the Super Bowl. So why not burn the ships and say, hey, I know that's not really the GM's thing there, but why not burn the ships and say, we've invested this much in this team. Let's go get somebody. And Nick Foles, to me, I know last year I did this and we were wrong about Chicago, but Frank and Nick have a thing. And, this would be a situation.
I think it's a different situation than it's similar to Chicago. I just think they have more offensive weapons than Chicago. And I think the one issue, in my opinion, is if you bring in Phillip and he's got you at 7-3, you ain't getting that dude off the field. You're going to have to drag his ass off the field.
Right. That's
he's a competitive sucker now.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. He's one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
So if he's like, dude, I'm slinging it, I'm good, he ain't going to just bow out, right? Like, that's going to be a fight. So I don't know. they're in a precarious spot. I think Foles would be more of a guy to like, hey, I got you to 6-4, 7-3. Totally understand. I understand the circumstances. Yeah. Go for it, Carson. And they're cool already, so whatever.
And you could almost end up with a reverse Foles situation where we get Carson.
It really could be.
It could be a total inverse of what happened a few years ago. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I have to qualify that, but it's fun to think about it.
That would be a hell of a prediction.
That would be crazy. I would cut the part when I share.
Just take off the part where you're like, maybe not.
Yeah, I know. Just like everybody else in the NFL media. Last quarterback question here. Kirk Cousins, he's made news about the vaccine thing. I'm not going to get into like whether somebody should or should not. I have already. Kirk Cousins is going to have to presumably travel differently. He's going to have to eat differently. He's going to have to spend time differently than most of the players on his team. Can you lead a team and be in a different room for lunch, in a different section of the plane, like etc.?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. And it's a touchy deal now because you got to respect everybody's decision on this thing. And listen, you get the vax, you don't. Okay, that's totally your opinion. But now if you go through the flow chart of yes, you get the vax or no, you don't. Okay, no, you don't. Now what? That now what are some difficult hurdles to overcome.
Right.
And that kind of separation from a group that has to become a family, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. It's going to put a strain on some of those relationships you saw Coach Zimmer in the press conference the other day, just sweating bullets up there and wanting to be upset, but at the same time, having to respect what his feelings are on this vaccine. And it's that is a rough go because there's plenty of other guys that are looking at him like, yo, dude, like, then you're not bought in, and that's not totally fair to say, but that's just a natural feeling for something like that. So, I feel for the guy. That's, nobody's saying you have to get it, but if you don't,
there's going to be some steep.
There's clearly some issues as you move forward and try and navigate this season. In some ways, you could argue more strict than last year because of whether, what people think about it or what, new information about this virus and all that. It's a little more strict than even last year.
Yeah.
So that's heavy stuff. And it's, especially as the numbers climb of people, hey, well, he did it and he did it. Well, why not you? He's going to constantly have to deal with that. And then, I don't know, man.
It's hard to imagine. It's just hard to imagine, like, hey, and I'm not saying, how I feel about like, hey, it's common sense, whatever, to get the vaccine. I know some people have other opinions. I just feel like this is not going to be good for the football team. You could position player, you could overcome it, but like when it's somebody who's supposed to be leading the team, it's going to be tough. I really do think that. All right, so Mark is going to be back soon. He just said it. He's going to be back soon. I'm really excited to see him on TV. I really am. This is great. Psyched for you, man. Congratulations, and hope you come back soon, dude. Thanks for spending a few minutes.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
Squanch was great. Was he not?
He wasn't not.
No, he was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
Squanch is always rock solid. He's a pro. Yeah. And I really do think, no BS,
he's going to be good.
He's going to be good.
He's going to be really good. We're going to have a really rich friend soon.
Yeah.
Like maybe Tony Romo rich.
Yeah, like he's going to get so rich that you're going to think about doing it.
Maybe I should just try to like marry Squanch and then divorce him.
Yeah, like Mark Brunell's daughter did.
What? No, she didn't.
No, that's made up.
Yeah. How about that? Mark Brunell says, nah, I can't meet my daughter. Then
in real life, pizza parties.
Yeah.